Hello everyone and welcome to this video tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to sculpt armour, in particular for this Lord Commissar. My inspiration for this model is the original Lord Commissar, but he's a bit dated and I wanted something that would fit in with my Scion's Tempestus army, so I thought I would make this guy instead. The list on screen are all the things that you will need to replicate this for yourself. With that said, let's begin. So the first thing we're going to start doing is blocking in the green stuff on the model. As you can see, I've just taken off pieces of green stuff and just pressing it into the model itself, and I'm just using the sculpting tool to just push it around, put it in the sort of general shape that I want it to be in. The blocking in stage doesn't tend to look pretty. You're not after a final product at this time. You're just wanting to get in the general shapes of the piece, smooth out the putty a bit and just make it general shapes at the moment, very rough. Now I'm starting to press in the general shape of the armour, so I'm starting to get more refined edges. I had a look at how the Scion's Tempestus armour looked to get the general idea of shape here, and then I just burnished it out using the sculpting tool. I'm just using a knife here to cut into the putty to give separation between the armour and the shoulder plate. The reason for this is because the knife is much finer, so I can get a thinner seam between the two. And now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm using the large embossing tool, and I'm going to use this to planish out the green stuff, just so that it goes smoother. It's good in getting the general shape that I want, but smoothing out the armour so that it looks a bit more finished. I want to add a lip at the bottom of the armour, so I'm just rolling a thin piece of green stuff and just wrapping it around the bottom of the armour so that it creates a bit more of a traditional armour look to it. A bit of flaring and a bit of fluting, which is the sort of thing you would expect in the Imperium of Man. Using my flat-ended sculpting tool, I'm just pushing the green stuff into the bottom of the armour, and I'm just smoothing it out and just getting a general shape of how the fluting will look. I'm trying to mimic the same look that the Scion's Tempestus armour has, but without all of the over-the-top fluting and filigree. Using the small embossing tool, I'm able to press into the green stuff so that I can get a smooth rounded inner edge. This is not something I would have been able to easily achieve with the bladed or the flat end of my sculpting tools, so these come in handy for this very reason. One of the things I've noticed about carapace armour is that it's layered. So what I wanted to do is create that layering underneath the armour so that it looks like there's more to the armour. It looks very futuristic. The Scions Tempestus have the same thing going on, and one thing you should note when doing anything like this is to pay attention to details such as that. I'm using a needle-ended tool here, and that's so that I can get behind the layering section, the gorget collar section of the armour, so that I can pull it away from the Commissar's throat, so that it looks a bit more defined and realistic. As is the general process with sculpting, I'm just going backwards and forwards with different tools, just to achieve the different effects that I'm wanting, and so that if I see an area that needs cleaning up or smoothing out or fixing, I can just pick up a tool and get on with it. And I've gone back to the armour now, and the reason for this is the green stuff is hardening off. So while this is happening, to get more defined shapes, I'm just smoothing out the green stuff so that I can get that sharp edge that I'm after. This is the sort of thing that you need to do with green stuff. Wait for it to cure a little bit, and then start creating those defined edges with your sculpting tools. I've now left the front of the armour to cure, and it's looking pretty good. It'll need a bit of sanding just to smooth it out, but overall I'm really pleased with it. So now we need to move on to the back of the armour, because it's no good having a front without a back. And this is literally the same process that I did for the front armour, just blocking in with a bit of green stuff, smoothing it out and getting the general shapes that I'm after. Instead of adding an extra bit of green stuff at the bottom like I did with the front of the armour, the rear of the armour doesn't need to be as defined, so I'm just carving it in using the flat end of my sculpting tool. I decided to add a lip to the top part of the armour, the gorget, so that it looks a bit more like it's Imperium. It also stops it from being really bland and boring, gives it a bit of flair. To create the impression of a jacket, I'm just making a collar which will be coming out from underneath the carapace armour. This will make him look like he's in dress uniform rather than just wearing carapace armour. He will actually look like a commissar now. Just as a bit of extra for you to look at here, I'm going to add the bottom of the Commissar's jacket so that he actually looks like he's in formal wear. So it's the same procedure as doing the armour, just block in with a bit of green stuff and cut in the general shapes that I'm wanting and smoothing out with some tools to get the general effect that I'm after. And there you have it, this is how the armour looks when it's finished. Now you can do other things with the armour when you've done, so in the case of this guy I added some brass etching of some Nyhilus from the brass etching set that you can buy from Forge World, just to add that extra bit of definition to him. In the next video I'm going to show you how to make his sash. I wanted it to flow over the armour much in the same way that the original Lord Commissar model has, and I'm going to show you how to create a knot and show how to get the sash to billow out so that he looks like he's in a bit of a wind. It also gives the model a sense of movement so that he looks more natural on the battlefield. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and comment. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Keep your eyes out for more videos because they will be coming out very soon. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.